welcome to this news hour on Equinoxe Television. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, we'll show you the ugly picture of underdevelopment challenges in Misaje in the Donga Mantum Division, northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, further compounded by security tensions hitting the two Anglophone regions of the country for close to 5 years. Today, also in this newscast, popular journalist, sports commentator Martin Kamumin tables his apologies to a young victim of sexual abuse whose videos taken in the office of the journalist went viral on social media, attracting condemnation from across the board and out of the country. Will military action end Mozambique's civil war or crisis? This is the question coming up after 4 years of fighting that has left deep bruises in the Cabo Delgado province in the northern part of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. We begin this newscast in Banka in the Mongo Division, Littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon, where a young man is accused of having killed his 81-year-old father over failure to help him to succeed in life. This is what the young man confessed, that he committed the crime because his father failed to help him to succeed in life. Smanjikan Gabriel has more.
It was a shocking act that was witnessed by residents of Eshimbikwata in Kotonachigal of Mbanga subdivision. An 81-year-old man, Tembu Daniel, allegedly murdered by his son, Julius. He told Patricia to make way, if not, she will be harmed. He got into the room and dragged his father. He used the stick and followed me. From the back of the house, I raised an alarm before the neighbors could come and hold him. The son, who is a musician by profession, says his father is responsible for his failures in life.
Papa, get some back way.
Our father had a bag that he used in manipulating us.
So we don't show no family meeting. They ask him.
During a family meeting, he accepted it.
The bag for manipulating with them. So we don't ask him say, but now which kind?
But he said he is doing that because of our mother.
So he said, so you don't get no problem with the vex that we are mommy. You vex with our mommy, then you transfer aggression for we.
Julius, who is residing in Mutengene, Fako Division, Southwest Region, traveled to Kotonachigal in search of that mysterious bag his father has been using on them, causing serious trouble on him.
Me, I don't go back. The papa say where. If in a way to save way,
I've begged on several times for him to forgive us. You can't imagine that at 1 a.m. I am attacked by epilepsy. In the morning, my bed is stained with blood.
My skin, they say, they don't scratch me now. Now scratch me. I don't beg you today.
When I came on Thursday, I just asked for the bag.
Accident. I come yesterday, say this so. Me, I can't see. I said, me, I don't want to do anything for you. I want that bag. May he show me place where the bag be there.
Elements of the company gendarmerie office in Banga, headed by Commander Cyril Jean Fono, alerted about the situation, descended to the scene and arrested Julius for more questioning.
I also may take 200.
Another young person, another crime, not committed by the young person, but allegedly committed by an adult, a young victim of sexual abuse, whose videos taken in the office of a popular journalist and sports commentator went viral on social media, attracting condemnation from across the board. And the journalist Martin Kamimim today publicly presented his apologies to the young lady and all other persons offended by what happened to the young lady whose sex tape went viral on social media. And after days of condemnations raining from all quarters, civil society, political leaders, lawyers against the journalist, he has presented his apologies publicly. He did so during a press conference today here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. And while that press conference was going on, some women took to the street protesting in front of the office of the journalist Martin Kamimim today, protesting and decrying the sexual abuse, violation and exploitation of the young woman whose video went viral on social media, and asking for justice. On to something else now. We take you, as we announced in the headlines, to Messager in the Donga-Mantum Division, Northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. And we're going to show you the ugly face of underdevelopment challenges, further compounded by the security challenges hitting the Northwest and Southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Innocent reports.
This is the only modern structure of government school, Bebekete, in Messager subdivision, Donga-Mantum division of the Northwest region, since its creation in 1985.
The school that was supposed to be in Bebe Jama now is taking the name as just Bebe Jama and is operating in Bebekete village.
Despite the lone modern structure, most peoples kneel or sit on the ground to assimilate knowledge.
The problem we are facing now is a problem of accommodation. This building is roofing more than 260 pupils. But the ratio of pupils per classroom is very high. The ratio of a teacher to pupils is equally very high. And that is enough problems.
Pupils are taught by a few committee states and PTA teachers.
I was transferred here in 2015. And ever since I came, we have been teaching here, two of us as state teachers. The PTA has for some time been helping, and due to this the ongoing Anglophone crisis, they were lagging behind in many ways.
Apart from the teaching and learning challenges faced, pupils of government school Bebekete do not have access to potable water and often fall ill because they drink from doubtful sources.
They fall sick on a daily basis because there's water problems. They drink water from the same source with cows. Sometimes they go to fetch water, cows drive them, they run away. And we have been facing this problem for many years. We have struggled to see how we can solve this problem. We think that one day we are crying and God is hearing, and one day the problem will be solved.
These teachers, who also impact knowledge in other deplorable village buildings, look up to the government authorities to provide the 36-year-old government school Bebekete befitting infrastructures, equipped with enough benches and blessed with teachers, pipe-borne water and toilet. This in a bid to encourage efficient molding of the future leaders.
Now to the Noon Division, West region of the Republic of Cameroon, where two alleged highway robbers have been arrested. They were operating, according to police information, on the road leading to Masangam in the Noon Division of the West region of the country, and they were intercepted by security and defense forces. They are now behind bars. Details with Charles Sekome.
These two men are suspected of being accomplices to highway robbers who have been terrorizing passengers traveling on the Fumbot-Masangam stretch of road in the Noon division of the West region. The latest robbery is said to have been committed on June 20th, says Bobu Gildas Mesma, brigade commander of Masangam.
C'était dimanche soir, nous avons été saisis par coup de téléphone.
On Sunday night, we were called that some individuals had blocked the road around the Maswen village, where they robbed passengers of their valuables and molested most of them. They collected more than 1 million francs CFA from the passengers traveling on that stretch of road.
Non seulement ils les ont bien fouettés, avant de prendre tout ce qu'ils avaient, téléphone portable et argent. Ils ont emporté plus d'1 million de francs CFA.
Furthermore, the gendarme officials say highway robbery began immediately after these two suspects got out of jail. This is not the first time that this driver is crying. He behaved the same way at the roundabout in Fumbot, and every time there is something fishy on the highway, he is always involved. The two men in question are clamoring their innocence, but the elements of the gendarmerie are still looking for two other suspects who are said to be involved in the act of highway robbery in the locality.
2 persons are in detention here in Douala at the Gendarmerie Brigade of New Bell. They are accused of illegally importing and selling, commercializing expired drinks. We have details with Smanjik and Gabriel.
Inhabitants of Kasala Farms in the Douala 2 subdivision left in shock. Several bottles and canned drinks they have been consuming, the length were expired. The operation to seize these drinks was headed by Commander Bakwa Jean Oscar, in charge of research, Douala 1, and the commander of the Gendarmerie in New Bell, Zambe. According to information gathered, the several bottles and canned drinks came in from an Asian country, and the proprietress of the company recently collected another consignment which custom officials at the airport checked and allowed her to go with them. Because of the huge quantity of the drinks, the security forces who were on the field decided to allow the rest in the warehouse while they packed some in their van.
Mangez-nous la chiffre.
A total of 1,000 bottles and 250 canned drinks were left in the warehouse. Meanwhile, the woman and the man who are operating this business were taken to the Gendarmerie Brigade for more investigation.
1000 bouteilles et 200 cartons confondus. Ok, on va vous constituer gardien des bouteilles et des cartons. En attendant une décision finale de la hiérarchie.
In the report coming up next, Glory Mala takes a look at the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on business in the country, and some of the sectors badly affected by the health problem, fisheries, or notably cattle, or rather pig rearing, and of course poultry farming. Her report.
The coronavirus pandemic has interrupted and crumbled many businesses in Cameroon. Poultry farming, the sale of chicken, and pig rearing are some of the most affected sectors. Chicken sellers in Yaoundé have revealed that at least 25 out of 300 of their pairs are falling out of business. In other parts of the country, many other persons involved in the chicken business have gone bankrupt, while others have diverted their capital into other businesses. This is why the feed producers, poultry farmers have converged in Douala under the auspices of the Ministry of Livestock, Fisheries and Animal Husbandry to revamp the sector.
Due to the COVID-19, which of course made us the last training was before COVID started, so we were expecting to have a refresher on not just the training, but also meet also the supplier, know what are the new things that, you know, can help us enhance our rearing of animals. And since we are doing this as a side business, it really helps us, you know, not just to grow, but provide better meat to our customers, as well as, you know, keeping our family business growing.
In the meantime, the business persons are hoping that coronavirus will give way in the future for a better business atmosphere.
Persons suffering from vitiligo, a rare skin disease, are expressing concerns about poor treatment in the society. Many of them are stigmatized because of their skin condition. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
Stephanie Chengang is one of those suffering with a skin condition known as vitiligo. The victim, who was just 9 years old when she started experiencing the symptoms, was later informed about her condition by a dermatologist. 1% of the population are affected with this disease across the globe. So, what exactly is vitiligo?
Vitiligo is a total or partial loss of skin pigment due to melanin pigment from the skin, and it is a disease which we frequently find, and people either want to consult or you see them around and they don't feel bothered because there are no associated problems to the person, no signs of pain, itching, and you find a part of your body just becoming white with no scaling, more speck, but with time it widens.
This disease, which affects individuals of all ethnic origins and both sexes, is easily noticed on dark skin, and it mostly affects individuals who are less than 20 years old. Dr. Gwani Samuel highlights some of the causes.
It is genetic. You are born to have it, or because along the line some genes have been misplaced to produce your pigment, and I think others can because by wearing certain, I've seen people have it because they expose themselves to certain chemicals, especially those who wear rubber shoes or what we call the sans confiance. It can also provoke it. But the cause is not quite on that. All we know is that it is a genetic or autoimmune disease. That's what we associate.
Though there is no cure for the disease, experts, however, say early consultation can, however, prevent the spreading of the white patches.
Treatment, not that you will be 100% sure, but if treatment is started early, we usually have some good results. There is some counts when the thing has been on for more than 1 year, we feel that it will not. Because it's the cells, the melanocytes, which produce this. If the melanocytes cannot produce the pigment, either because some other agent in the body is working against it, like a chemical or an antibody is fighting against it, cannot treat it. But the treatment we give is something to stimulate the melanocytes or to stop the reaction that is causing the loss of or the poor production of melanin.
Although the skin condition is not life-threatening or contagious, victims, however, experience discrimination.
Persons suffering with vitiligo are often stigmatized. This is because those living around them are scared due to the fact that they have little idea about the disease. Some are even scared of approaching us because they think it is contagious. Many others think that the victim tried bleaching the skin. The population needs to be sensitized.
Parce que rien que le fait qu'elle sache qu'autour d'elle et qu'elle perçoit autour d'elle que des personnes...
The World Vitiligo Day is celebrated on June 25th every year. The year was chosen by the United Nations organization to create awareness about the disease and equally curb discrimination against those living with the condition.
Coming up, Smart Jikan Gabriel narrates the fascinating story of the oldest candidates of this year's probatoire examination in the French subsystem of education in the Republic of Cameroon. 62-year-old Falaye Kulu is the husband to 3 wives and father of 21 children, grandfather of 4. He lives in the north region of the country, and he granted an exclusive interview to Equinoxe television. Sman Jikangebre has more.
Elle est fière de voir son mari. Elle est fière de voir son mari étranger aller à l'école.
62-year-old Falaye Kulu is the oldest candidate sitting for the probatoire general examination at the government bilingual high school Jambutu, north region of Cameroon. Equinoxe television crew was at his residence in Yeriwa neighborhood in Garua on the eve of day 3 of his examination. At his residence, we met Falaye Kulu revising for the papers he will write, and by his side, one of his 3 wives giving him moral support. It is good he is going to school. It's done, and another day for Falaye Kulu to face his examination at the school compound. Just like any other student, he shows his pass, permitting him to sit for the exams. In the classroom, Falaye Kulu is very calm as he concentrates on his examination script.
L'un des meilleurs candidats parce que
he is one of the best candidates because he comes to school first. I can assure you that if I had the knife and the yam, he will be given a pass mark. He has promised that if he succeeds in the probatoire, next year he will come to sit for the baccalaureate examination.
Il n'y a pas de problème. S'il passe le probatoire l'année prochaine, il sera encore mon candidat au baccalauréat.
The chief of center of government bilingual high school Jambutu advises others who think school has a limit.
Nous éduquons tous les jours.
We learn every day.
Si les autres peuvent aussi.
And if others can copy the example of Kulu.
Faire les examens, c'est bien.
To gain knowledge, it will be a wonderful thing.
Ceux qui à la retraite à 62 ans continue à chercher le savoir.
At the end of the day's paper, the oldest candidate comes back to what pushed him to sit for this year's examination.
J'aimerais être cultivé. Vous savez que l'école, c'est une culture.
I want to be knowledgeable and prove to others like me who say schooling is not necessary.
Pour le prouver que vraiment l'école est nécessaire à tous les domaines. On ne fait pas seulement l'école.
Is to prove to them knowledge is not just for one to get employed, but to develop his mind.
Quand cela devient que le travail arrive, à mon état là où je me trouve, où je suis.
With this certificate, I may become a mayor, a member of parliament, or a senator. To become an important personality in life, one must go to school.
Être cultivé d'abord, la première des choses, avoir des bagages intellectuels. À l'heure actuelle, on ne peut pas prendre n'importe qui pour exercer un domaine nécessaire. Bon, raison pour laquelle alors j'ai pensé à aller à l'école.
Falaye Kulu will finish writing the examination this Friday, just like other students nationwide, and he has promised that if he is successful, he will sit in for the baccalaureate exam in the 2021-2022 academic year. Falaye Kulu is married to 3 wives, having 21 children and 4 grandchildren.
Okay.
Will military action end Mozambique's insurgency? What does it take to end an insurgency? These are questions coming up after 4 years of fighting that has left deep bruises in the Cabo Delgado province in the northern part of Mozambique. Those who were not killed in the violence have had to flee for their lives. Some estimate that more than 800,000 people have been displaced. Charles Mangiro, a journalist in the capital Maputo, says all the refugee camps in Pemba now are filled, and there is no space. Neighboring countries are worried and are working with the government of Mozambique to come up with solutions. Elsewhere on the African continent, Uganda is worsening. The situation of the violation of the rights of children is worsening in that country, and children in Uganda are paying a very high price of the COVID-19 pandemic. Child labor is on the rise. With one of the youngest population in the world, Uganda was already struggling with high rates of child labor, but with the world facing a wave of economic hardship, non-governmental organizations say in a single year the pandemic has set back any progress made to reduce child labor by 20 years. And in Karamoja, northeast Uganda, when all schools closed due to the coronavirus pandemic, several children joined their parents in mining for gold. Officials say there are still 159 people unaccounted for after the partial collapse of a beachside building in Florida, United States of America. And Miami-Dade Mayor Daniela Levine Carver noted earlier today that rescue officials were still searching for survivors from the condo building collapse in Southside, and she said that a search and rescue operation was on the way. Katsuyurins.
A day after the collapse of this apartment building north of Miami, rescuers are desperately combing the rubble for survivors. At least one person has been killed and dozens are missing. What's left of the high-rise looks like a broken dollhouse, exposing the privacy of apartments and of lives brutally interrupted.
The building has literally pancaked. It has gone down, and I mean there's just feet in between stories where there were 10 feet. That is heartbreaking because it doesn't mean to me that we're going to be successful as we would want to be to find people alive.
Among those rescued are a mother and her child, but the woman's leg had to be amputated to pull her from the rubble. Another woman's life may have been saved by a football game.
For some reason, for watch the game, I stay home and I don't come last night sleep over. So this morning I saw, and the policeman, when I was there, showed me the picture from outside. Everything is disaster there.
President Biden said the federal government stands ready to help. The 12-story building was undergoing work on its roof, but it's unknown at this stage what may have caused about half of it to collapse.
Talking Point is up next. Dr. Gadzi Tazo is our guest today. He is a legal expert specialized in the areas of public law, including constitutional law, administrative law, human rights, and Central African Economic and Monetary Community, CEMAC Community Regional Law. He has consulted, among others, for national and international organizations on Cameroon's electoral legal framework and on the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Babila.
You've been training some young people here in Cameroon's economic capital for the past 3 days on the human rights. Before you talk about that, you have been consulting on the situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. What's your take about the current situation there?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Babila, for inviting me to this talk show. Actually, I am Dr. Gatti, and I'm a lecturer in the University of Buea. I also work for the CHEDA, which is the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa. And I've been part of a couple of works that have been conducted on the Anglophone crisis. And actually, some of the works that have been conducted draw the conclusion that for the crisis to be ended, there is only one thing that has to be done, which is a dialogue, an inclusive dialogue. We appreciate the efforts that have been done so far by the government to try to calm down the situation, but yet we are to the opinion that much still have to be done in terms of inclusive dialogue that include actually everybody, including those who are holding the arms against the state.
As we speak now, 5 government workers are in captivity in the Indian Division Southwest region of the country. There were 6 of them and 1 was killed. What's your reading of these other happening? 5 or 6 government workers kidnapped at once and then kept for several days without being released.
Actually, reportedly, one of them has been killed, but it's an information that still has to be confirmed. But as I was saying, it's something that has to be dealt with an inclusive dialogue, because the dialogue that held in Yaoundé in 2019 was a good one, but I know that everybody knows that it was not actually inclusive, because some of the stakeholders of the crisis were not actually part of the crisis. That's why those who are in the bushes, for instance, have to be convened for the dialogue and also sit so that a solution can be taken.
And some Cameroonians are preparing for a conference in Ghana because they think that such a meeting bringing together both parties should take place on a neutral ground with a third party coming like a mediator.
Yes, it is one of the solution which are being put forward by some people, but you know that the Cameroon government is very reluctant when it comes to involving somebody else into the process. When it comes to mediating, Cameroon government is very reluctant. You know that Switzerland has also tried to be a mediator in this crisis, and actually they even started the process of mediating. But at the end of the day, you know, Cameroon is very reluctant. They think it is a Cameroon issue. It's a Cameroonian issue that has to be dealt with by Cameroonians, by a dialogue which involves Cameroonians among themselves.
All right, you and other trainers, including Barrister Agbo Bala, who is the founder and president of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, have been training young leaders here in Douala for the past 3 days on human rights. What provoked this training? What is your take about the manner in which human rights laws are being implemented in Cameroon, notably by the authorities?
Let me start by talking a little bit about the training. The training is a training which is founded and organized by the Frédéric Ebert Foundation, which is based in Yaoundé in collaboration with the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, which is based in Buea. And as I said, I am a researcher in the center. Well, we just came to realize that human rights is a holistic issue. It is an international issue. And we're training young leaders. Young leaders are leaders of tomorrow. That is, they will be politicians, they will be activists, and so on. And we deem it necessary to actually train them, because human rights is not the only training that they went through. It is part of the training. And since we're training young leaders are those who are going to rule the country tomorrow. They are those who are going to lead the society tomorrow. And we are training them for 2 good reasons. The first reason is that some of them will be politicians, they will be president of the republic, hopefully they will be ministers and so on. And it is good for them to be human rights trained. Why? Because I worked on the Anglophone crisis, and you know that Anglophone crisis finds its root